Right, buddy, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. We'll be talking midfield situation, Ugarte, MAINOO and all of that stuff, potentially them leaving. We've got an update on Anderson. We'll be talking about that Dorgu injury towards the end. I know I've done a separate video on it, but I'll talk about that as well. Again, we'll be talking about Xerxes, MAINOO new deal, some news on Sergeant Ratcliffe and more. But the first thing I want to talk about is the midfield. We know that's the big discussion. That's the big talking point of Manchester United's sort of summer window and the plans for the summer. Now, what has been reported right now is I'll give you the news for now, but what's been reported already is Manchester United obviously want to overhaul that midfield. We know Casemiro is going to be leaving at the end of the season, um, and they want to bring in potentially four new faces. With Baleba, Wharton, Anderson, being at the top of the list, you have also players like João Gomez, Angelo Stiller, Tyler Adams, these sorts of players as cheaper alternative options to potentially come in. Now, what's been reported today is that Manchester United's plan was already ideally to sign more than one midfielder this summer, as a long overdue rebuild. Casemiro is potentially not the only ex in that position, with Manuel Ugarte's long-term future also in doubt. The midfield shortlist is led by Anderson, Baleba and Wharton. It's led by Elliot Anderson, with Baleba and Wharton also highly rated options. So listen, on that midfield, I think what would be my ideal thing, I think that's always something to kind of look at what I think United should do. I don't think this will happen, but what I'd love to see happen, we know Casemiro's going. I'd want Ugarte to go. I'd keep MAINOO and Bruno. I'd bring in Elliot Anderson. I'd bring in Baleba. And if you want to go out and get a João Gomez, I wouldn't be frustrated with that. But I think we need a complete midfield overhaul. I think we need someone who can pass the ball through the lines. We need someone who can carry the ball. We need someone who can score a goal. We need a lot of different profiles in the midfield. But the main thing that we need is a deep line number 6, a Casemiro replacement ideally. And I think there's no better player for Elliot Anderson for that role. Now again, he's their main target. United haven't kind of hid that. Obviously, Baleba is second as well. He's someone who's very rated. We talked about his price being set a few days ago. I think for United, they just want to bring in midfielders, and they will be assessing their options right now leading into the summer. We know previous interest from Baleba's there. We talked about it in August, when United were linked to him. Now we're looking at kind of Elliot Anderson as a different option. He's a very good option, and he is likely to be on the move. But again, he's going to have a lot of competitors. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, or most Premier League clubs will be interested in signing him. And I think if United were able to pull this off, it would be a huge deal. And ultimately, it kind of does depend if we do get Champions League football as well. But apparently Anderson doesn't mind. But I think having Champions League football would be a massive boost to attract not only Anderson but other players. If you want to bring in a new centre back or a left back or whatever position you want to bring in, having that European football as Manchester United is very, very important. Now, Manchester United have maintained that they would move early in the market if their chance arose to sign a long-term target, as seen with their interest in Semenyo, which ultimately stalled when the winger opted for City. Otherwise, their main focus remains on the summer window, when targets such as Anderson, Baleba and Wharton are expected to be more attainable. So that's something that, again, there, United are not going to go out in the last 4 or 5 days of the window, go and sign anyone sort of off the cuff of an injury like the Dorgu one, for example, or poor performances. They have the recruitment strategy in place already, so I don't think that's going to change. What I would kind of say and talk about as a potential option would be kind of a short-term loan of someone in the midfielder, but as I said, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, the next thing, heavy on the midfield. I think that's the main priority. Kobbie Mainoo. Now, we had the news a few days ago. I think I did report about Fabrizio saying that United are, after the window closes, they'll be heavily looking at giving Kobbie Mainoo a new contract. He's someone who they prioritise in the future, coming out from Sky as well. And what's been reported today from The Athletic is United are ready to open negotiations with Kobbie Mainoo's contract, which is currently around £20,000 a week, after earlier talks stalled. The 20-year-old has a deal running to the end of next season, with the club holding an option to extend it by a further year. Now listen, I think it'd be great to extend Mainoo's deal. He's someone who you want to build the club and the future around. I think it's a big summer for Manchester United. The first thing would be keeping Bruno Fernandes for me for another season. I think that's something that United have to do. I think the team would look a bit lost really without Bruno in the team. And I think what he adds to this team is not many players in world football can do that. And I think he still has one more season in him. He's just such a smart IQ player, a leader, a captain. I think another one would be tying down Kobbie Mainoo for a long contract at the club. Improve his salary to maybe 50 or maybe 80 grand a week would probably be good for him. I don't think you want to go too far, and Ineos won't do that. We know how tight they are with money. The next thing for me was to bring in 2 or 3 top quality midfielders, as talked about before. But again, Kobbie Mainoo, he currently has a contract until the end of next season, until 2027, with an option for a further year. But I expect, I think it was Ahmed, like his contract wasn't running out too soon. United just gave him a bumper, I think 5-year deal, probably improved his wages, improved kind of bonuses and stuff. And I think that's something that I expect to do with Kobbie Mainoo. He's going to have a big end to the season, hopefully. He had 2 very good games against City, both played 90 minutes, his first 2 starts in the league. Both wins, both good performances, covered the most ground by any player. And the aim is obviously to give him a new contract. So that's something that I think is positive. And I think something that Manchester United have needed to do for a while. And the fact that United were going to sell him was a sackable offence in itself. And the fact that he was frozen out for so long was just surprising to see, to be honest. But yeah, mainly new contract incoming is huge. Hopefully we can get that done before the summer, so we're not going into the summer talking about is mainly going to get a new contract. Ultimately, I think after the January window closes, we will see some fast developments from Manchester United. Now, the last thing, Xerxes and Ugarte have drawn interest from Ajax and Roma respectively, but are not close to leaving this month, while Malacia is seeking more game time and is likely to move out on loan before his contract expires in the summer. So, if we are going to see any exit from Manchester United, it would probably be Malacia. It probably would be Malacia on loan, which again is not really a significant deal. He was in the squad, but I think he was just blocking a space for someone like an Amas if he's at the club, or a Kakonki, or someone young to come through really. But yeah, I think Malacia leaving is the only likely thing. I think Xerxes, listen, he does look out of the fray at the minute. I think he's injured at the moment, so I think that could potentially block any move happening as well. He hasn't played any part in the last 2 games, but again, I think that is due to injury. Again, he gives us a good option because he can play in the number 10. I think he can definitely, whether it's not his greatest, he can play in wide positions if needed. He can play in a false 9 or a number 9 position. So he is a very flexible player, and with Dorgu being out, I think there is kind of that intention to keep him at the football club, if I'm being honest. So yeah, and obviously Ugarte, I think in the summer he's definitely going to go. I think United will just keep him as an option now. I don't think we'll be able to find a replacement to bring in, and I think him just getting rid in the summer would be the best thing to do for the club. Now the last thing, Dorgu, obviously I did a separate video about it. That's already out on the channel, so check that out. But Dorgu has been out. Dorgu is going to be out for 10 weeks. It's frustrating. He's been sensational. But again, now we should see more of a Shea Lacey or an Ahmad, or more younger players in the squad, and giving them more opportunity. So yeah, he's gonna miss 10 weeks. That would see him miss the club's next 8 matches and put him in line for a return off the March international break on April the 11th. So if you look at the games that we have, so in terms of a return for Dorgu, I know it's quite easy, and it obviously Bruno was out for 17 days with a hamstring. 17 days, sorry. Each hamstring's different. So, listen, the games he's likely to miss would be, obviously, Fulham on the weekend. Then you'd have Fulham, Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Palace, Newcastle, Villa, Bournemouth. And then come back after that, and we would have Leeds, Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool, Sunderland, Forest, Brighton. So his season's probably not over. I think he could have quite a few games left to play in the season for United, but it's gutting because he was in the best kind of vein of form in his career, really, and I'm hoping he'd be back very soon. Well, not very soon, but hopefully he comes back better, stronger, because, wow, what a talent we have there. But let me know your thoughts. That has been your latest Manchester United update. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you shortly. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.